All right, welcome back for this special Memorial Day Monday. I want to introduce our guest, but first I want to say thank you to all you veterans and everybody on this Memorial Day who have not only fought for our great country, but the families who have sacrificed, and just appreciation for all the blessings and the freedoms that we have are due to many sacrifices over the years. Rob, I'm sure you agree. By the way, this is the Rob Gibbons, former teammate of mine. Once a teammate, always a teammate. But special Memorial Day, right?
That's right. Well, yeah, and we also got teammates that serve, so
yes,
God bless them.
Yeah, we'll talk about one, Ryan Crowley.
Decorated SEAL, right? Yeah, Ryan.
Absolutely.
Agent Ryan Crowley.
Yeah, let's talk about old Ryan Crowley, who... Yeah,
I'm sure he's listening. I mean,
I'm sure. Watch. So this fool was what? Okay, we'll start off with this. So Rob was 1 year ahead of me, came from Jersey, which we'll let Rob tell that story, and redshirted, and then we graduated together in 1998. And
I graduated in 97, technically. Papa was on time. Let's get straight.
Sorry, Rob is brilliant.
I was there. I stayed there.
That's right. Just to hang out. But Ryan Crowley was 2 years younger than us?
He was a sophomore when we were seniors. But he walked on, like me.
Walk on. And I'm sure people have heard this story, but if you haven't. So Ryan graduates after his 4 years. Yeah. He earned a scholarship. And I wasn't here in town, neither were you, of course, but from what we know, all of a sudden he just starts swimming.
See, honestly, it's funny. We've known each other 22 years. You tell a story no better than you did in 93, 94. It's amazing.
You tell it then.
It's awful. You're already killing the kid's story. So first of all, you got to go back a little bit. On team trip, he walked on, skinny, scrawny kid from Naperville. And the best part is that he walks on in our heyday, but he also has to go against the toughest, nastiest guy on the team in Skip, who beat him up every day. So Crowley might owe Skip a thank you for getting him for making him mentally tougher.
Maybe Skip owes Skip a thank you. Shout out to Skip, fireman.
Yeah, but when we went on trips, Crowley would never be on the pool. He would never be in the beach. He would always be on the beach. He never swam. And then when he graduated, I guess, what did he stay on for a GA year, I think?
I don't know.
But he started taking swimming classes. And then you fast forward to May of 2020, he's a decorated Navy SEAL.
Yeah, but so he swims, but he doesn't even enlist. He goes straight to buds. He didn't even go into the military. His first thing was right into buds, which was pretty cool. Yeah. And he served for, I think, 9 years now. Doing some.
And still works in the government. God bless him.
But again, very happy.
Like I said, he's probably listening anyway. So
watch this. Absolutely.
Yeah. Hi, Ryan. Yeah.
Hey. So Rob is one of my closest friends, has been since 1994, and we've continued to grow closer. And he's got, let's start with this. What you got behind you there? What is it? Drummer boy?
Yeah, drummer boy and a little Gibby. Hang on.
Little Gibby.
Yeah, well, Gibby and action Gibby. I ran a triathlon. It's better if you pose it through the front of the screen like that.
Oh, man, that's faster than you ran when you were in college.
That is. I can actually do it backwards. I used to run
backwards. That's what you looked like when you played.
I did a triathlon like years ago, and at the end of it, there's this guy taking pictures, and they give you a card. And I said, I don't know what the hell it was, but I paid for it, and they send you like photos and like that, and they send you like this plastic stand.
That's awesome.
Cutout.
Can we get a close up of the face, please? I don't believe that's you.
That's me.
Look at Gibby.
Yeah.
What a handsome devil.
Yep. Look at all diesel and everything else,
Yeah, you're jacked.
But the funny thing is, and it's a little plastic figurine, right? And at the time, we were building sales teams, and I managed like a bunch of people. And one of them, I had them over my house one time, and they started cutting in on it. They're like, oh! And one of them, took it and made copies and got them, and they mailed them to like the entire team. So it came out, and they're like, there was like 100 of these things arriving. But, I could send you one. If you want.
That brings, I would love one. That brings us back to memories of Gibby on a stick.
That's right. In fact.
You got one?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So 98, Rob was kind of a folk legend in college. And, I'm horrible.
It's around somewhere. No, there's a big one upstairs because there's in my boy's bedroom. They got him on the wall. Of course
there is. Is that on the wall right when you walk in the house?
No, it's the same way it's always been. It's in the bathroom. No, it's it's up in my boys' room. But remember the last time I was out there, I spoke to the business school, whatever. It was huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. They made a bunch of, a good friend of ours made a bunch of Rob Gibbons' faces
Yeah.
halfway through senior year.
It was the ESPN game when we
Okay.
played at our place. I think it was, as a matter of fact, I want to say ESPN game. So that was Southwest Missouri State Sunday, February 14th.
That'd be Valentine's Day, and that was not.
It was right around Valentine's Day. It was 11 o'clock game, I think. Digger
Was it?
Phelps did the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then we lost because Kevin Hall got in the heat up. And none of us remembered how to play. So, you know.
Well, Coach, we pressed them, and Coach Stallings, for every game, an assistant coach has a scout.
Yeah.
So King Rice had this scout.
Did he really have that
right?
scout?
Oh, yeah, this is absolutely. So King, the head coach at Monmouth right now, terrific coach, great friend.
Oh, yeah.
This scout, so we weren't a pressing team. And so we decided to press them. It was the first time we was it? We played at their place first? We played at their place first.
We lost at their place.
Yeah, so they come in and we decide we open the game pressing them. And we get down big, and Alt makes like 4 threes against our press. And Coach Stallings, great first.
Leroy threw him in the first row. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was one of the games where we just couldn't get. It was one. Remember, we never really played well on the morning games. I hate it. I don't know. Pre-game meal. I don't know. But I mean, it may have been. We could never get in that rhythm. It was one of the things where there's a couple games in my mind where, and I'm sure you know these too, that where we came in and the other team just seemed to be playing at a different speed, and you could even when you started to make a little bit of a run, they were just off a little bit.
Yeah.
First one comes to mind our senior year was that, but also earlier in the year against Wisconsin, at Wisconsin.
Well, we didn't have Smiley. We didn't have
Smiley.
We didn't have Leroy.
Came off, yeah.
Yeah, he decided.
And then remember walking in that place, they're pouring sodas on us in the tunnel and screaming.
Yeah.
I love that, but I mean,
it was freezing.
We weren't even on the same page. Remember?
Well, we'd beaten them at their place 2 years earlier in the NIT.
Yeah, well, we beat them down, yeah.
Or 3, yeah, 2 years earlier.
2 years earlier, NIT.
All right, so real quick, that was Gibby on a stick, and then they kept bringing him to the game. Now, I got a shirt, so a fan, sends me this shirt about 3 weeks ago in an email, and I don't think I had seen it, okay? Now, this is a great time to show this because Rob's turned into a total nerd, so he hasn't watched Last Dance, the Bulls series.
How did you know I haven't watched that yet?
Because we just talked last week, and you hadn't seen one yet.
Oh, you're that damn old. That's right. Yeah, you are. I had not, and by the way, to this day, I'm still getting flack from all my buddies. I still haven't seen it.
Yeah. So anyway, 98, as everybody knows, was the last time the Bulls won championship. I'm sure most people will watch the series. Dennis Rodman was a huge deal. You saw the different phases of Dennis Rodman. So I get this email.
Stop it.
Look at that.
Oh, my God. Wait a minute. I got to.
Look at that.
Command 4.
So this is Gibby.
Oh,
back in the day,
God.
They made shirts of them and face sticks.
Wait, they made shirts of that?
That's a shirt.
From our senior year?
Yeah, this is from 98. See, I don't remember seeing it.
I don't remember seeing that either.
I know. He sent it to me. I was waiting for the right time to show it to you.
By the way, the worst thing ever is the guys who made the Gibby on Sticks, you know that. I mean, they were all our lax buddy. They were Eric Mills and Steve Bond and Boxcar and Alfonsi. That picture's from my freshman year when I was a bread truck. I was like fat as can be.
You look horrible.
Look horrible. The Tide wouldn't take me out. Look at that picture. And green hair.
Next. Okay, so what year is this picture there, Coach?
I want to say 94.
I mean, it's a nice round face.
Yeah, for the Pillsbury Doughboy, it's a nice round face. My God.
Isn't that great?
That is a funny picture, though, man. But I never saw that shirt. It's strange, though. A girl that is friends with, I think, Rico or somebody, and I don't have him on my desktop, unfortunately, but I think she played the tennis team. I can't remember her name. But I remember in college, sweetest, nicest girl ever. She's friends with Rico on Twitter, and I read Twitter a lot, but I don't really post much, if at all. And she sent him pictures of our championship runs in St. Louis. And I'm not even kidding you. It was almost like teary-eyed. I'm like, wow, I've never seen these. Because they were taken from the point of in the stands.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we were going bananas and everything. So it was people pop up every now and then and send you this stuff.
Right. Well, he also
by the way, I'm usually hiding from stuff like that.
Exactly. Eric Burwell's his name, by the way. Great fan, good friend.
Who was it?
Eric Burwell. Guy in town.
He's great. Scary.
he sent me this picture too, which you had one of these, but this was in the same one, so we sent that also. That's from 97.
Oh yeah, I still have that T-shirt.
Yeah. Anyway, memory lane. So, hey Rob, let's start with this. Let's tell everybody how you ended up from beautiful Rockaway, New Jersey.
Are you sure you got that kind of time? I mean, I don't know if that's.
We don't. The way you tell stories, by the way, we don't have that kind of time. Let's get the Cliff Notes version.
Okay.
Of how you got here, and talk about whatever you want. I'm gonna go make a sandwich.
I was gonna say, you don't want to say talk about whatever I want. Your viewership just plummeted. Not that they were. I think your viewership plummeted. I think he moved. You know, I think it's, all 4 people are gonna not listen to this anyway. No, I was supposed to. So I signed a scholarship November my senior year with George Mason, which was a big deal because I think I was the first Division I basketball player out of my high school. I went to a dinky, small Catholic high school, 90 kids. Everybody knew everybody, and it was a big deal for me because. I came from an amazing family, but, a scholarship was a very big deal at the time. You know what I mean? Hardworking Irish Catholic family. But it was in Fairfax, Virginia, where my parents could be able to get to see some games. Fast forward, coming back from a long trip with the boys, like our getaway weekend before everybody went to school because my buddies all played football. Walk in the kitchen, mom's crying on the phone. Somebody from admissions saying, yeah, your son's supposed to be in school in 6 days, but no longer has a scholarship with us. And the matter was that they had went 8-21 the following season. Like I signed November, that season they go 8-21. Well, they wait till late in the summer to fire the coaching staff, and in came a guy named Paul Westhead, and he looked at me on paper. It's like, yeah, which probably wasn't legal at the time. Who knows? But we had no scholarship. It was yanked. They said it was due to academics at my high school not being of standard. Meanwhile, I went to a private Catholic high school where it was a factory.
That's the oldest excuse in the book.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. But at the same time, it's not something you want to fight for. It's not something like you want to go there because this guy doesn't want you. So I was literally, it was too late to like apply anywhere else or go anywhere else or anything. So I was literally, my parents were locked into a trip with the family in Cape Cod like we always went to. So they went. Everybody was devastated. I was literally building houses and helped my buddy out at his gas station. And a guy called who, God bless him to this day, is like another part of our family. He is another part of our family. A guy who had been a basketball junkie, Harlan Slicker. God bless him. He had heard about what happened to me at church from another family in town. And he's also best friends with Mr. Hurley. And Mr. Hurley knew me from AAU and working out with him. And they made a call to Coach Storms. And then I'd met him like twice, Harlan. I'd seen him in the stands. He's the guy in the stands. He's absolutely brilliant. He's got white hair, and he wears usually a Fog Island T-shirt because he's a Kansas junkie. But he knew Coach Stallings because he knows Roy Williams. And he called me on like a Friday and said, he's already talking when you pick up the phone. And I had been working with my buddies, working. No, none was home in my house. So my buddies and I were all drinking beers at my house, hanging out. And he says, oh, I heard about your situation. That's so awful. He says, hey, a friend of mine just took the job at Illinois State. Would you be interested? At that point, I was like, yeah, man, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at like going to work tomorrow at 6 a.m., doing a construction job and whatever. I said, I'll take anything I can get right now. And I hung up, not paying attention. The next morning, my dad calls from vacation. He says, hey, do you know this gentleman, Mr. Slicker? I'm like, yeah, I think I met him twice. He says, great. He's picking you up in about an hour, and he's going to take you out to Illinois State. I'm like, all right. So told my buddies, chased him out of my house, put all my clothes in 2 black garbage bags. This guy showed up at my house, threw my stuff in there. That was we got Saturday at like mid-afternoon. My buddies took a collection. They gave me like $200. He drove me 17 hours straight out to Illinois. We got to the arena steps. This is classic Harlan. We get to the arena steps, right? And puts my 2 trash bags on the arena steps, sits me down. He goes, well, Kevin said he was going to be here, and so did Coach Rice. He said, but I got to get beat on the traffic, and just leaves. So no, of course, no one shows up.
No.
And meanwhile, we got there on a Sunday evening, like at dusk, and classes were supposed to start the next morning.
No, they did start. They weren't supposed to start. They weren't waiting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
But I'd never been on a plane. The furthest west I'd been from Jersey was like Philly. Don't know anybody. And literally, I'm sitting out there. It's starting to get a little dark. I'm like, they'll come. Yeah. And all I hear is crickets and things like that. But I walked up to the arena door, the main part of the arena. I walked in, and I walked around, and I bump into a guy who's cleaning the arena. I want to say it was like Skip something or other. You know the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, for years, right?
Well, kind of longer, yeah.
It might have been Skip or Tom or something. Like, hey, big guy. He's like, And I said, hey, I'm on the team. I forgot my stuff in the locker room. And he's like, oh, I'll take you down there. I'm like, okay, so I go down there. And remember that the door was a punch code?
Yeah.
So he didn't know the punch code, but someone in the weight room did. And they put the punch code in. And when they weren't paying attention, I stuck something in my pocket. I think it was papers. I stuck it in the door, Jimmy the door. And I said, hey, guys, appreciate it so much. And I took my time in there. And the guy was like waiting by the door. I'm like, no, man, I'm good. Don't worry about it. He's like, oh, okay. So he left. I went and got my clothes. And then I spent the first 2 nights in the men's locker room. And then Chad Altadonna came in. He's like, what the hell are you doing? And he let me stay on his couch like the first 2 nights. And then I redshirted that year and then got a scholarship the next 4 years. And, anybody who remembers, the rest is history. Greatest 4 years of my life.
It's really not history because there's a lot of this Monday meeting is what we call this Monday meetings with Muller. Rob, I'm sure you love that name.
Yeah. It's part of the reason why I almost didn't come, but that's besides the point.
Exactly. It would last 5 hours if Rob, and that would get you through college.
Well, no, you were part of those stories too, though.
So we'll cut a little of the detail out, but tell everybody what you've been doing since college. Again, Cliff Notes version, Rob. It just took you 5 minutes to tell a one-day story. So let's cover like 10 years every minute.
So what I've been doing since we left ISU? I'm 45 the other day. Christ, this might take ages to tell me this.
No, I just said every 10 years you get a minute.
Yeah, I heard you.
I'll give you 2 minutes.
All right, no, that now you're being ridiculous. Was fortunate enough to play overseas after Illinois State. Probably the least likely to do so, but ended up doing it. Bounced around for about the first 2 years, 6 months here, 3 months there, and then finally got longer-term contracts. My last year I played in Holland. I was signed my biggest contract to play in Poland the following season, and then I was walking into a gym, working out. I was supposed to get on a plane. I was supposed to get on a plane to go to Poland September the 12th, and 9/11 happened. So I, being in Jersey where I am, I'm literally a stone's throw away from where those buildings went down, and it just didn't seem right to keep playing basketball and bounce around the world like a bandito when so much of this country and everybody was hurting. And we all knew people and things like that. So I stopped playing. And 9/11 happened on a Tuesday. 2 days later, Thursday, I drove down to Hoboken, which is right by us, which Hoboken is here. And the financial district is across the river. Like literally you can hit a golf ball over there. And I just parked my car and I was just wandering around. And I ended up, next thing I know, helping this guy out this guy is standing outside of a bar, shell-shocked. He said, hey, big man, can you help me? And that's what everybody was doing. Everybody was walking around the streets like zombies. Yeah. People were crying and everything. So he said, can you help me? I said, sure, man. What do you need? He's like, this is my bar. And this was Thursday or Friday. He's like, we haven't closed since. I've had people here all the time. And some guys are just starting to really lose it, And what they were doing is you're doing 24-hour shifts at Ground Zero. And this guy never closed, And I said, yeah, man, I'll help you. So I went in there and it was literally just helping people out. Next thing I know, I ended up bartending. And then I stopped, since I stopped playing, I bartended on Fridays and Saturdays. I worked a sales job in the city, then went to graduate school. Got into sales, worked with J&J. A friend of mine built a company within J&J that ended up being really, really successful, who taught me everything I know, a guy by the name of Dirk Gorman, who you've met before. Been tight with him ever since, and he taught me enough to where I could do it on my own. So I started doing contracts with bigger medical companies about like turnaround situations when they wanted to introduce a new product or the sales team was underperforming. I used to get contracts on short term and say, hey, listen, we need someone to do this quick. Can you do it? Bounced around, lived all over the place. And then, I've been doing that for the last couple of years. Hit a skid after I started building a startup in 2014, but snuck into a business school program for a while over at Harvard. Got the best education there. Managed to sneak into that, and then got my head about myself after that. And then last company had a piece of equity, got bought in on a short timeline. We sold it in 16 months, and still doing the same thing. We built a fund. A friend of mine just recently in COVID. I mean, it's funny. We should talk about that, but we started a fund right before all this happened. He and I, because he's a whiz kid, and just the two of us, because we were getting called in to do the same things. To come into companies, and we did it at the company that we sold together. He bought in the customer success side, where I was the sales side, and we pooled our resources together. We built a company called Achiever Capital. It's like a small VC consulting thing, and we've been doing that for a little while. And yeah, it's been great. It's been a blast. That basically took 3.5 minutes.
Thank you. I didn't think you could do it.
No, I know you didn't.
We're going to go back a couple things.
Meanwhile, I've skipped over majority of, if not everything, that makes it meaningful.
Oh, well, that's why I'm bringing up a couple things.
Okay.
And we'll go back. After the recap of your life after college, we'll go back to college. Okay. So don't worry, because I want to get some of your favorite memories.
Oh.
You're playing overseas. I played for 2 years. You played for 4, right?
Yeah, around 4.
So we used to, now this is before cell phones. You couldn't communicate.
That's right. Yeah, before all that. Yeah. Well, in fact, no. My last season was my first cell phone, because at the time they were 8 years ahead of us in cell phone world. Right.
Nikon.
Nokia, Nikon, all that stuff.
And you played for a team owned by?
Which one? Oh, owned by Magic Johnson. Yeah.
It's like, hey, Magic Johnson bought our team.
Owned by, and we were teammates.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So give us a quick Magic Johnson and how that was. So that was your third year? No, that was your second year out, because I was in Belgium.
That was my second year out. Yeah, 2000. We're supposed to go out, got an offer, best story ever. Got recruited by, somehow my agent got me in touch with them, but they called me in July of that summer. And apparently, joking around, I had said, no, Magic Johnson, I never played his team. And the agent knew him. And so this is the story. He called the house. And my brother and sister answered, and they're like, no, this is Urban Johnson. They're like, yeah, my ass. And I hung up. So, no, but I ended up turning down the deal, because at the time I was in a relationship. I was engaged at the time, and turned it down. Fast forward to January, and they called back and said, hey, we're making a shift. We need new bodies. We got to revamp this thing. Would you come out? And I went, and we ended up being teammates. It was in January of 2000. The bell, we rang in 2000, the end of the 90s. I got on a plane the next morning and went to Sweden.
And you played a handful of games when he played in it. So this is This was in between, if I remember right, his playing career and it was after his coaching career, or something. I think he might have been.
Yeah, it was just after his coaching career. He owned the team. We did the funniest thing, Muller.
And why he bought a team?
Well, you know what's even funnier? So do you see this other documentary called The Scheme or The Scam or something like that? It's about the guy who was brought up on charges by the FBI or something like that for giving college coaches money and Patino and all those guys. Yeah. The guy that narrates most of that is a lawyer called Steve Haney, right? That was the guy who got me over there. That was amazing. I'm like, this doesn't
Kevin
happen.
Bacon. Rob Gibbons was like Kevin Bacon back in the day.
That's right. By freak chance. But yeah, the funniest thing was, I mean, arguably the most personable guy you've ever met, Magic Johnson. Yeah. I walk on the court, and I'm not a starstruck guy. I never was, right? And we walk on the floor, but that's like, you meet him, it's like, okay, it's a different caliber. I hadn't said a word to him. They paired us off in the shooting drills. Of course, I get him. He looks at me and goes, so how the Redbirds going to do this year? I nearly fell out of my shoes. I was like, like that kind of thing. And he just awesome. Regular. Meanwhile, you get on the floor with him, nasty as can be, like never stop talking. And not talking trash, but telling everybody where to go.
That's awesome. I
do have a quick Magic story if you want.
That's good, yeah. Hey,
this is the only time you're going to get ratings.
Viewers want it.
You know what I'm saying? This is the only time you're ever going to get ratings or someone else to listen to you. By the way, it's going to be me, you, Smiley, Ben, maybe your parents and mine. So my mom, God bless her. No, so we're up in Sweden, way up, like up in Plannja. And, I woke up at the hotel complaining to the front desk. It was still dark. It was like 10 in the morning. They're like, no, Mr. Gibbons, you're by the North Pole. I'm like, oh, sorry. And we're at the game, and the fans are like right on the court. It's tiny, and he's playing. And it was still like, he would play the 4-5 with me on defense, and then he brought up the ball on offense. So anyway, jumble rebound, we're on defense, and I tip it out to him. And my heart starts racing because he like kind of bobbled it, and then he got a hold of it on the right side of the court. And I run up the middle, right? And I'm just trucking. And I'm like, oh my God. And sure enough, he throws me his bounce pass. I catch it. I took like one step and dunked it. And like, I literally said to myself, I'm like, yeah, I was actually going to run right to the locker room. I'm like, I could die right now. That's it.
All right.
It's never going to get better than this. You know what I mean? Just call it a day. I was going to look around. Did anybody photo that? Because I'm out. And like, so, I'm on the cloud, finished it, act like it was no big deal. Guys down the floor, like hitting me. I'm like, yeah, no big deal. Yeah. 5 minutes later, same play, kind of similar situation. I tip a rebound out, and now he gets it. He's going to the middle of the floor. I'm on the right side, and this other guy on our team is on the left side. And Magic's, and it's funny. It's like when Brady drops back for a pass. As Magic gets the ball and starts going down court, people start standing up in the stands.
Yeah.
Like, what's he going to do kind of thing. He never looked at me. Never looked at me. And there was a guy back in his face. And he's dribbling. He takes one hard dribble at the foul, and he throws his hand under the ball. And the entire arena just jumps that way. And then with his backhand, he hits it to me. And at the last second, it hits me and bobbles, goes out of bounds. And it was a TV timeout. So we walk over to the bench, and he just looks at me. He gives me this look. I'm like, So then we're standing up to go back on the floor. I lean in. I say, hey, Herb, man, my fault, man. Good pass. He goes, and I didn't think he heard me. I said, hey, Herb. He looks at me and goes, hey, Rob, I throw you the ball. You better catch it. Why don't you sit down and think about it? I didn't get back in the game. That was it. He's like, why don't you have
sit down and think about it?
Yeah. He goes, why don't you have a seat and think about it? I'm like, oh, you mean right here? I'll sit right here.
Is this seat okay? Or do you want me to sit down?
Meanwhile, the guy sitting next to me was eating a hot dog. I was like, should have been in the stands, But that was it. Didn't get back in the game.
That's awesome.
Oh, it was
amazing.
awesome.
He's coming back, and he buys a motorcycle.
Oh, in Holland. Yeah.
Holland.
Yeah.
The Harley. And he's trying to figure out how to get his Harley shipped over. Well, you can't. I mean, it's hard because they're different. I don't know why you couldn't, but it's hard, different. What?
Well, no, it was a little bit tougher to get it into Port Newark because they always have somebody. It depends on who you go to.
Post 9/11. No, this is before. Yeah, this
no, it was before 9/11. Yeah, it's before 9/11. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so that's these are just the stories of Rob.
Yeah.
By the way, to start this off, I said tomorrow's Memorial Day, and it's actually today when you're viewing it, although we're recording this Sunday night.
Yep.
And today, which is tomorrow, which is Memorial Day, which is basically the 25th, is also my dad's 70th birthday. So
you had me on the show. This is probably the only reason. But anyway, so the Muller clan. What was the name of the store? Was
the Carpenter's Son.
What was it called?
The Carpenter's Son.
The Carpenter's Son. So the Muller clan owned a Christian bookstore, right? And back when my first marriage, cheers, was in 90. When did I get married the first time? 99. Right? You were there. RT, you were there. No.
I was overseas.
You were overseas. That's right. Right.
What basketball player gets married during basketball season?
By the way, tip of the iceberg for that one, but another story.
Whatever.
But anyway, I received a gift from the Muller family, and it was a Bible with my name on it, right? And of all people that could have used that, it was me. But it's funny because between college, they gave it to me, right, they mailed it to me. Between college and living overseas and everything, and listen, between that and Harley Davidson, I've been fortunate. I've been to like 46 countries, right? Because my last season we played in Holland, we had one game a week and one practice a day. And then on some weeks we didn't have a game on Saturday. The coach would be like, on Thursday, be like, oh yeah, we'll see you on Tuesday. So before I had the Harley, I used to take a puddle jumper over to Charles de Gaulle and go to Paris. I went everywhere. But it's funny because since that time, I've lived in, I want to say 30 places. My wife and I alone, we've been together 11 years. We've lived in 7 or 8 places. But point being, I lived in a place where I got robbed twice, everything gone. I lived in 03. I just moved into my first big job at J&J. I moved into a place and I was writing the story of our senior year, right? Literally, like had a stack of it this high. I got hit with a flood and lost everything I had. Anyway, this book.
Hey, I had visited you there like a month, 3 weeks before.
Right. That's right. Yeah. And we're driving around downtown Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore.
And then literally heard a leak. It was in Fells Point. Heard some water running. And I had called my dad. God bless him. I said, Dad, remember that hurricane that they were talking about coming in? He's like, yeah. I think it's here. Because I leaned over and the water came onto my bed. And I said, Dad, am I going to get electrocuted? He's like, nah, you've been dead already. You're fine. And he hangs up on me. So,
hangs up.
And it was a can factory. So when they cut the power and everything, it was pitch black. And I literally, the water, I'm 6'9", 6'10", the water was up to my chest. And, I lost everything. Anyway, wound up, I walked in the hallway. I hear this woman crying. She's clinging to the wall. Anyway, brought her out. FEMA rescued us. But anyway, been to all these different places, all these different things, right? My wife and I moved down to our house last June, and I'm unpacking boxes of books and everything. And sure enough, what do I find? The Bible. And look at that.
There it is. I've got one.
This thing, you want to talk about a bad penny? Like, this thing has been everywhere. It's crazy.
I don't know if my parents watch these.
So on his 70th birthday, tell him that, I still got the best gift.
I'll tell him to watch it. So
sure. Well, that'll make your audience, what, 4?
At least. Yeah, I'm sure. I've got 3 brothers, too. So
that's what I meant.
Oh, man. And so tell us about your family and what you're doing right now.
Family's thriving. I'm happily married to the woman of my dreams who's been patient, God bless her, beyond belief. Obviously, you know me. We're married. I married Erica 10 years ago. We have 4 beautiful children. We have 3 children, and I have a son with a girlfriend a relationship before I met Erica. His name is Cameron. He lives in Queens. He's 10. And then we have Cameron's 10. My son Robert is 7. My son Emmett is 5. And my daughter Paris is 2.
Yeah.
And, crew of them all.
Yeah, I know, man.
You've seen them.
I know. I've seen them.
Yeah. They're by the way, you're not.
Gibbies.
They're a little hot at you like right now.
What, basketball camp was canceled?
Emmett's taking it quite personal.
Look, I that's out of my control.
They don't care about that though. They're kids.
I know.
Right now, you might as well be the guy who started COVID. So,
tell him that he can come and we can do a little one-on-one camp.
Yeah.
Since you don't you don't watch basketball anymore. No,
I don't. I don't watch much of anything lately.
Okay, let's go back to the college days for our fans. I like to ask. So this, I don't know how many you've watched or seen or what you've done. So I've done all former players except I did one of my current assistant coaches.
Okay.
And I've asked, I think every one of them, favorite game from college.
Oh.
You got to pick one.
It's got to be one?
You got to pick one. What's your favorite game, memory? It could be after the game. It could be the whole game experience together. It could be a moment.
Yeah.
Favorite game.
Favorite game was the second championship in St. Louis against Southwest.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a tough question because memory is the one thing I do have a lot of.
Yes.
And I can tell you when there was a number of games, but that and then, there's a handful of them, but that one was just a culmination of everything,
That was the most fun and special weekend for me that I've ever felt outside of getting married and my family and my wife. I'm just saying basketball experience.
Yeah.
That weekend.
I agree with you 100% because especially that senior year, especially them too. They beat us twice during the year and their coach was mouthy. It was just kind of like, and we were trained always never to be mouthy, but it was kind of like, all right, guys. And it was just to do it against them. And keep in mind, though, we steamrolled that tournament, the second game.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember hearing Coach Stalling saying, practice, we're going down to win 3 games. You get that in your head. That was it.
Yeah.
But I mean, we were like usual, right? We were the best prepared. We had the best team. So, but it was just funny because that was a culmination of it, to do that again. Mm-hmm. And by the way, someone told me this recently, reminded me, we're still the only team in Missouri Valley history to win back-to-back regular season and postseason titles. No team has ever done that, which is, to me, that's pretty damn impressive when you think about it.
That's pretty cool. We had good teams, special teams.
We did. And then, you don't find that. You don't find that anymore.
It's hard to. You still can find it. I mean, right now there's so many transfers. You don't have so many people together. And we had a class of 6 that we were together. Now Steve came in a little bit late.
And think about it too, right? We had no seniors our junior year.
Right.
But that was a rarity too. And
right.
But those were. I mean, you want to talk about formative years. I mean, it's funny. Like without joking, I thank God every day that I met those guys. That I had a guy like Coach Stallings and you guys, because I'm the first one to admit, you're a product of your experiences. You know what I mean? And good, bad, or indifferent, life's going to happen to you. You and I, especially, we both know that. We get to this phase of your life, you've had your handful of bad times as much as good, probably, hopefully more good. But the way you handle them is everything.
Yeah.
And those years, especially, I mean, with that kind of guy run the show and that crew and those assistant coaches. And the funny thing is, and we're all oddly still tight. I mean, I talk to you, Smiley, Ben, all these guys all the time.
Yeah.
I talked to Coach Rule the other day. King Rice, Coach Rice is still, now he's down the block from me. Ben's son's going to next year. You know what I mean? Like, I still talk to all you guys. And it's funny because you go through things in life with different sets of people. You know what I mean? Like, but the guys you go through with things like that, where you're part of a team and you get beat down, but then you build something together and you win. Those people know you better than your family, your spouses for the first few years.
Yeah.
At least, but if I had to say one game, I would say that. But it's tough to pin down because remember, you and I were every game together.
Yep. Arizona, never been in a locker room. Never cried.
Never cried harder, yeah. Well, no, I had some since then, yeah.
To that point, yeah, since then.
Yeah. And crying, the crying part was one thing. It was the fact that we'd never all be in that situation again. That's what gripped me. That's when I lost. And even though we lost, but the loss, it was more than just losing because it was like the last time we're all going to be, at pre-game, BSing on.
We thought we were going to win.
Right, but we were up at the half. I think,
we felt like we went in thinking that. And,
Smiley decided to take off, and we didn't have him.
Yeah, throw it back out.
Yep, but I mean, you could pinpoint so many things. Like, if people really knew behind the scenes how crazy that senior year was, I mean, that's a novel all itself. You know what I mean? Like, being picked 15th in the country preseason, and then going in and getting beat up by Duquesne, and just things like that. Coach kicking us out of the locker room for a while. I mean, for a stint, that team had to be completely broken down again and rebuilt. You know what I mean? And on top of that, just the way it was done, the way we did it, and everybody pulled together. I mean, it was remarkable.
It was awesome.
It was.
Rob kind of skimmed over this. He is a Harvard Business MBA grad.
No, not MBA, executive MBA.
Executive MBA, whatever. And so he's done very well, and he's very successful, but obviously we've stayed really close.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Stallings had a unique way of bringing that team together. He was very hard on us, but that's the way that I felt like he brought us together and that toughness up. And
I mean, it was to see him do that. I mean, I was there a year before you. You know what I mean? So I got to see that guy. It's funny. It's like it's one thing when you go to you hear about the new animal that they import in the zoo, like the crazy white tiger or something, right? That everyone waits in line hours to see and stuff like that. It's another thing to be in the cage, you know what I mean, and see with them and what it's like. But I mean, being out in the world afterward and seeing different types of players and coaches and being around Mr. Hurley and meeting all the coaches and players and then playing overseas. I mean, you think about how darn lucky we were to have the guys that we had running the show.
Absolutely.
I mean, the guy, not for nothing. We were in 5 years, I don't think we were ever out coached. We may have not won all the games, but he was a savant when it came to basketball. I mean, I think that's probably the biggest similarity I see in you two. You know what I mean? I think X and O wise, because I don't know the game nearly. I don't have the depth of knowledge about basketball you do, but I thought X and O wise, he was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. And
people forget secretly how smart he was. I mean, the guy was smart as can be. And it's so funny because you think about what he did. He did the same thing our freshman year that he ended up doing with you and Smiley our junior and senior year. If you look at it, this is another story, but you had shout out to Donna and David Kaysen our freshman year. You had Country Mouse and City Mouse. The antithesis of one another, right? And he made them both captains with Brian Kern. And I thought we had great leadership that year.
Oh, it was great. I learned so much about it.
I was in the gym when they first met each other, and the first while they couldn't stand each other, right? And then I talk to Chad all the time. They're still the closest of friends. That friendship built into itself right before that season, and we had them and Brian. We had great leadership.
Yes,
great leadership. And it's funny because that kind of started taking form with you and Smiley, like our second year. Couldn't have been Country Mouse, City Mouse, polar opposites,
Yeah.
And then we go from having good leadership. Our sophomore year, we had no leadership. You know what I mean? And then our junior, senior, what's that?
And Mo tried.
We did, but it was out of their scope. I don't think they wanted it either. You know what I mean?
I know. We still finished second. Hey, we still finished second.
We did. And I remember a guy, Matt Tapone, he said that's the highest you guys will ever finish. He told me and Smiley that.
Shout out, Matt.
Shout out to Matt Tapone. You guys never finished better than second.
Yeah.
We did it right.
I'm speaking of our former teammates. I want to show something here, and we're going long. We're gonna set a record, Gibby. We won't go too much longer.
I'm not talking, Dan, if you haven't noticed.
Kenneth Pearson, my roommate my freshman year, and a 4-year teammate of both of us, is an artist.
Oh,
and
yeah.
a lot of people in town know my dog, who's awesome. So there's a picture of old Jackson, right? So I asked KP to draw me Jackson in pencil.
Yeah, and that's
I'm just showing this again, just to kind of show the variety of teammates and the personalities and the skills and talents we had.
Yep.
Gibby, look at that right there.
Wow, look at that, huh?
My guy.
KP still got it. That's right.
Isn't that awesome?
That's amazing.
By the way, if you want one, I said, man, you got to start an Etsy page. I think you did Art by KP. So,
we did?
Support KP, your dog or your cat or your animal drawn in that.
Anything, right? Yeah. Oh, he's brilliant. That team had the best part about that team is, it's funny because I never pictured I'd be this fortunate to be doing what I'm doing now, right? And I'm blessed.
That makes both of us.
That's true, exactly.
I mean, for me.
But I mean, literally, the same things that we learned that we've got taught to us in.
You couldn't see it. I got to show this again.
Now I see it. Yeah, we can put both these things on Etsy if you want. But the same things we learned and the same things we got taught by these guys and that were beat into our brains that we reiterated over and over again. It's the same things I use now in businesses, and people are like, wow, you know what I mean? But like, listen, we didn't have much choice. You had to do what you had to do in college. So.
Well, Rob, we could talk for another 5 hours, which I'm sure we will off records or off this video at some point, but appreciate it. I know everybody's excited to see what you're up to and what you've been doing.
Yeah, I got to get around myself.
And, your beard looks great. You need to stop coloring your hair.
Yeah, you're as bad as my friends, man. I'm not coloring anything. This always comes in white. But I'm getting the bell rung here by the tribe, so I got to run.
I hear him. Tell the crew I said hello. Love you. All right.
You too, bro. Love you too.
All right, man.
See you, buddy.